Hello there. How are you doing, my friend? Welcome to my social pathology video, by which you understand underlying mechanics of social problems, and also by which you can reconfirm your life direction to attain true happiness on this planet Earth. This time, I would like to discuss an article on Yahoo News. Came from a national review by Ms. Brittany Bernstein that Chicago mayor declares racism is a public health crisis. My name is Dr. Samurai, a professor specialized in international social pathology and also an active prison counselor of 20 years experience. As usual, I would like to provide you some brief general information first, and then like to move on to our main discussions. Are you ready? Okay, let's start. So, Chicago Mayor Ms. Lori Lightfoot, who herself is a black mayor, she announced in a written form that racism is a public health crisis. I don't think denies her declaration, but there was no clear solution in that article on how to resolve this racism so that health and lifespans will improve to the level of white people. There is this well-known social thinker in Japan. His name is Sakae Osugi. He left this great words. What is happening in prison is a miniature version of what is happening in the society, only that outstanding characteristics are emphasized in prison. So he meant if we see what is happening in prison, we can understand more clearly what is happening in a society. In prison, as some of you may know, the general population is divided based upon the racial lines. Like when they go out to the yard, this corner is for white, this corner is for, say, northern Mexicans, this corner is for southern Mexicans, and this corner is for black. And there's this iron wall. Once any fights start out, including their own race, they have to join without any excuse to support their same race. Otherwise, you are going to be attacked later on as a sign of ostracism. And this racial divisions seem to be more clear when the population is younger and when the stress of the prison is higher. Like after a long lockdown, everybody is stressed out, and energies are stocked up inside. So under stress, these racial divisions become clearer. And in some prison, associating with the other races itself gets assault from the same race because he is considered crossed the line. That said, what will solve these racial divisions and racial tensions? Having been a prison counselor for 20 years and having been associated with my prison friends, most of them you know the name of as very extreme in their own field. I thought about cases where those lines are more fuzzy and people of different colors are associated more closely as a real friend. When does that kind of thing happen? One thing I can tell you is at the factories for lifers where they are allowed to use any kind of tools including saws and knives and scissors and all those things that can be used as weapons, where they are allowed to use those potentially dangerous tools. I'm positive that colored people are mixed, working together as friends, because they earn that the privilege to work at that level. They are freer than most of the general populations because in prison can work is a privilege which most of you do not know. They must be evaluated good to be allowed to work, because to be allowed to work means he can move freely and gonna have a contacts with many other prisoners, right? So they gotta have certain trust from prison administration. So when they are trusted and allowed to work relatively freely, there was not much racial tensions and rather good relationships were growing. Even though those who are allowed to work in such factories tend to be in older generations. That is a good point too. Another thing that comes to my mind is even in the prison filled with the younger generations, different races are standing against each other, right? And they have their own shot callers. There are different levels of shot callers, but there's always a boss or bosses, like 3 generals and stuff, representing one race. When or there's no extra high pressure on the population, although they are not mingling with each other, there's certain level of peace established under the control of each shot callers. So that means different races have each leader, and those leaders representing each group talk to each other very often to solve problems. That is another form of stable situations. Those 2 things are what I can come up as actual examples of peaceful states within prison. Older generations with their working privileges, with a certain level of freedom, they can work together across the racial lines. And also, even at the prison with the younger generations, if each shot caller is tightly controlling their own race and having regular talks to each other, when things happen, it's not going to develop into big incidents. Those 2. And there's one other thing which I think might be possible, though I haven't actually seen it happening, which is mixing different races intentionally with each other and make them live like in one cell. One is white, the other is black. Cells of different races. But that is only possible to those who pass the stage of feeling like proving how tough they are in a prison population. If the inmates are still at that level, we can't do anything because they are too aggressive. They kill each other. But once they pass that stage, we may be able to put the different races together in one cell or in same yard and stuff like that. So I think those three are possible forms of different races getting along with each other. And once they work together, they get to know each other better and came not to see superficial difference of colors less and less, and see more and more of what's inside of the person. So those three are the good hints that can be applied to society that come from my prison counselor experience. Well over 10 years of exchanges with my extreme American prison friends. One thing interesting to me is this friend of mine who used to be a white supremacist, and he still is partly that, but he introduces to me, Dr. Samurai, this guy was arrested for this and that, and once I mentioned you, he is wanting to communicate with you. It's been happening several times, and most of those are not the white people. And one gang leader of alien supremacist group, he in his private life outside adopted Asian mentally handicapped person as his brother or son or whatever, so there's always a possibility. And even if they are advocating white supremacist, there are many cases that they don't really mean that, because white supremacist means the power, the only power symbol for white people, sounding more like a philosophy, but that is the symbol of white power, not necessarily they are into exclusive to other races. That I would like to tell you. Funny thing is, I read an article that this white supremacist person, once he got, I think, married with a black lady who looked very amiable, he got out of the white supremacist group. So not all, but many of them could desert what they are advocating regarding races, which can be a good hope to the society. This is it. Although I didn't give you a clear answer, but I think I gave you possible values to think upon. If you like this kind of discussions, please click that red Dr. Summer logos, and also check out my best video playlists. And up until next time, please stay safe and be friendly with the people you see, regardless of what kind of races they are, wherever you are on this planet Earth, because I believe that is going to lead to your true happiness on this planet. Okay, bye bye now.